Today marks the end of another week for us since we don't meet on Fridays, and as planned, we're going to start with a quiz. Today's quiz is going to be different. It's not going to be a Canvas quiz of multiple choice. In a few minutes, you are going to, during our Zoom session, you will be opening a document and completing it during real time, which means that you'll be taking it during our Zoom session. When the time is up, I will ask you to submit it on Canvas, and then we'll go on with our lesson. If you are done before I am ready to go on, you'll submit, and you'll start the lesson by first checking your answers to the previous day's assignment, and then you'll go on and define some key terms that are going to help us with our new session. Okay, so we're on to our quiz, and we'll meet back in a few minutes to go on to the new lesson. Now that you've submitted your quiz, we're going to look at lesson 1.7, which is the distributive property. Hopefully you've got an opportunity to define some key terms. If not, we'll go over them as we introduce the lesson. The distributive property is something we're all very familiar with. Majority of the time when we are looking at the distributive property, the number to distribute or term to distribute will be on the left, but once in a while, like in this second term in the first column, it might be on the right. So we're just looking at a number or term on the outside of parentheses, which tells us we are going to distribute 3 times x, 3x, 3 times 24, 3 times 8 is 24. In my second one, I'm distributing a negative. When you distribute a negative, you're going to multiply by that 7 and also change the sign. This is going to give me a negative 35x plus 28. Again, the signs changed and it multiplied by 7. Here's where I mentioned that sometimes the term to distribute is on the opposite side that we're used to. I'm still going to do what I always do. I'm going to multiply. And I'm going to see that I get 1 2/10 times 3 3/10 x. Again, dealing with real numbers, I have a fraction in here as well as decimals in the previous. Multiplying twice. 12 times 3 is going to give me 36. And then the 12 times the negative 1/6 t is going to give me 2t. Bottom row. In the fifth problem, I'm looking at distributing a negative, which is the same as saying the property opposites or multiplying by a -1, which just will change the signs. It's saying the opposite of. Last problem, to refresh your memory, this time I'm going to have a term on the outside that includes a variable. It's also a negative number, so it's going to change the sign, and then an x times an x will give me an x squared. Change the sign, negative 2x times 4 will give me a negative 8x. And that's the basic types of distribution problems. It could be distribution over addition or subtraction. One more thing we want to look at is reminding ourselves that the fraction bar acts as a grouping symbol. What does that mean? Well, if I take a fraction like a divided by b, it could also be written as a times 1 over b, which means I can separate it. All right, remember that where division is called multiplying by the reciprocal. All right, so you can use this fact and the distributive property to rewrite fractions as sums or differences. I take this problem and I'm thinking that this is 7x divided by 5 and 10 divided by 5. It's sharing that 5. It's sort of like the distribution with multiplication. And I say sharing and it forms sort of a heart, so it kind of reminds you that you're sharing. So this will give me 7x divided by 5 plus 10 divided by 5, which I see I can simplify. That's going to give me 7x divided by 5 plus 2. So again, we can use that distributive property as well as our facts about division to simplify expressions that are dividing by a sum or a difference. Let's practice a couple more. Again, I'm looking at sharing that 3 between these two terms on top. I can, and you don't have to write this step, but I'm sort of pointing it out in the beginning so that it becomes clear. I now go ahead and simplify, so 6x divided by 3 will give me 2x, and that 15 divided by 3 is 5. We'll do another. Again, we're going to share. This now is a difference. I have 12x divided by 3 minus 9y divided by 3. Simplified will give me 4x minus 3y. And in this last problem, we're going to see again that we've got a difference, and we're going to divide by the term -7. So that's going to give me, once again, 28x divided by a -7 minus the 21 divided by -7. Simplified, that will become a -4x plus 3. Next week, we're going to have a test on the first 7 lessons of this chapter, and we'll discuss that more on Monday. And until then, have a nice day. Enjoy your weekend.